Still wearing sandals. All right. Well, it looks like we have people still continuing to log in. Um, ooh, Margaret, that looks like a great podcast.
We have a virtual meeting about how ineffective virtual meetings are. This is awesome.
And as is usually the case, my dog has decided that now is the moment to play
Oh, funny.
and bring the squeaky toy over. So I apologize if you can hear her in the background, but
A little bit.
welcome, welcome
Awesome.
everybody. We'll wait another couple minutes here, let people find.
No, I think you got cut off.
Yeah, I agree. And you know, acknowledging the shortcomings of a virtual meeting just helps us make it as good as it possibly can be.
No pressure, right? Thanks, Margaret. All right. Well, what do you think? Should we go ahead and get started? I know people are still logging in. So I can kind of get us started and then will one of you guys let me know when is Victor here yet? I know Victor's running
I'm looking
from meeting to meeting.
now.
Yeah, okay, just let me know.
Not yet.
Just let me know if I need to continue or if I need to turn it when I need to turn it over to him.
Okay. Sounds good.
Awesome. Well, welcome everybody. As everyone's logging in, we just want to welcome you to our October Lunch and Learn. And we're so excited to have a number of panelists today to kind of talk through procurement then and now. So we've got, I will probably let Victor do the introductions here a little bit later. But this is a really fun topic, especially when it comes to the fact that we're celebrating our 20th anniversary. So yeah, so what we've got coming up this month for you, we got quite a great lineup. So we have some virtual classes. Speaking of virtual, we've got 3 competency modules, or 4 actually, coming up here. And I think all of them are about half hour. I mean, half day, half hour. Wouldn't it be awesome to get all of our training done in a half hour? So if that's something that interests you, go ahead and head over to the WANIGP website and get registered for those. We also next Wednesday will have our Emerging Professionals Roundtable. We've been really excited about that. And just so you guys know, a little thing that we've been talking a little bit to about partnering up with the SAMPO, or the New York Emerging Professionals. So if those are things that interest you to start to get to know folks from around the country, we're talking about ways that we can make that happen. Our next Lunch and Learn is on November 1st, and we are really excited to have the NIGP Business Council come and present. We know bid, and I tell you why. For just a little teaser on that, this is a really great opportunity for us to hear from our suppliers, our consultants, on what it is about our solicitations that give them pause, that give them challenges. So, and why they don't bid. And so that we can turn around and make our solicitations a lot better and easier for folks to respond to. And then the big one is on November 2nd, we have not only our fall conference, which will be, we have 2 guests that will be joining us for our education portion, but we are also having a dinner for our 20th anniversary celebration. And we really encourage you to take care of not only register and attend, but this is going to be a great way for you to meet some of our retired folks, to get together and network with all of the existing, some of our charter members. Victor's working on some really great videos when we interviewed a lot of the charter members on what life was like before WANIGP. For many of us, I cannot imagine that, because you have been my lifeblood my entire procurement career. But there are a lot of folks who looked to the future. And so we're really excited to hear from them. And then sometime we've got photo booths. And I know, Ginny, you probably could talk a little bit about everything we've got going on, but we've got prizes and we've got bingo and we've got all sorts of things going on. So go ahead and head over to the WANIGP website and get registered for that. It is $30 per a member, and it's $50 for non-members. And you are welcome to bring a spouse or someone else to join you. They can actually spend the day in the museum as part of that $50, but then they also get lunch and dinner with it. So that might be kind of a nice way for someone to spend the day. So with that, I'm gonna, let's see, do we need to move to the next slide? Oh yeah, let's go ahead. We do have a number of people presenting, but if you are not presenting, go ahead and mute yourself or mute yourself in between when you're talking. And so that way everyone gets to enjoy the presentation. And because we need to give you credit, we want to make sure you have your full name on your screen, because otherwise you will not be able to get credit. So if you're still not familiar with that, it is right click on your video and just choose the rename. And then if you want to go ahead and raise your hand or enter your questions into the chat, we can try and call on you, or we'll read that. But that way we can continue the panel so they can keep going, but then we can kind of break in when there's a good moment for that. So with that, Victor, who was going to be our facilitator, is running a little late. He had been called into some meetings, so I am pinch hitting for him, and I do not have everyone's bios. So what I will do, though, is introduce each one of you, and we can kind of go ahead and start our process. And for those of you who on the Lunch and Learn committee, please just jump right in and let me know kind of if there was a specific area that we wanted to highlight on this. But we want to thank the individuals you see on your screen for coming. We have our veteran, or AKA seasoned professionals. So Connie Wahl, she's our senior procurement specialist for the city of Spokane. And she is also the chair of our Lunch and Learn committee. And she keeps us all kind of moving ahead and offering all these great opportunities. Dave Davis is actually retired, but he was the director for the procurement and materials management for WSDOT. And he is also, call him our founding father, but he is the very first president and was kind of kicking off the entire WANIGP chapter. So you'll hear more from him at the at the 20th anniversary as well. And then we also have Victor Leamer. He's our senior buyer for Spokane County. And he will be, when he joins us, he'll be also facilitating and taking that over. For our young professionals, we invited Sam Miller from Link Transit. She's the contracts and procurement specialist there. And she is also serving as the recording secretary for this chapter. And it's just so fun to see all of our young professionals start to join and volunteer. So thank you for that, Sam. Cara Brocx is also she's been with the Lunch and Learn committee from the very start, but she's the senior specialist for procurement, SBE, DBE for community transit here in Everett. And she also has been volunteering for several years for WANIGP. I'm excited to hear what she has to say, as well as Shaylynn Schmidt. And I believe Shaylynn might be running a little bit late too, because she's in the same meeting that Victor's in, that they got pulled into at the last minute. But she is the buyer too for a purchasing department there at Spokane County, and has been, I think, 2 years in procurement, having worked in Spokane in other facets. So that is our great lineup for today. And was there anything that we wanted to say before we move into some of the next slides? Anything someone wants to add that I left out about their bio? I can tell you these are all fantastic individuals, and I'm really excited to hear what we've got lined up. All right. So I think we're going to kick this off with some surveys and polls. So we're going to have you guys chat this. I believe we're going to have everyone drop this into the meeting chat. Is that correct?
There's a poll, but it's saying that someone took over host. Someone's logged into the account. Somebody else is logged into the account. They may have to launch the poll.
Oh, Sam, is that something you might have to do?
Yeah, I can do that. 1 second.
That'd be great. I was going to say, because the poll wasn't coming up. So I was thinking, oh, maybe we have to put it in. Awesome. Thank you. All right. So how many years have you all been in procurement? Oh, there's a whole poll here. And then where do you work from? So we got 2 questions.
I'm interested to see on the work from home versus hybrid and how that's changed over the
Yeah,
last couple of years, because I feel like it's just up in the air still. So I'm excited to see the results for this.
for sure.
Looks like we're just waiting on a couple more, so we'll give a couple more seconds and then end the poll.
And technically, if you work any time at all from home, it's considered hybrid. Like I'm in the office today, just getting out of a meeting, sorry. But today I'm considered hybrid.
Yay, Victor's here. Thanks for chiming in, Victor.
Yeah,
Cara.
and I'm gonna officially turn the facilitator duties over to you.
Thank you. And again, my apologies, everyone. But you know, with technology and work and hybrid situations, when people get together for meetings, that's what happens. So very interesting layout in regards to the spread of how many people have been working in procurement for a period of time. Nobody less than a year. That's very interesting. But spread out pretty much, and there's a lot of 20+ years here. So there's a lot of experience that we'll be sharing with each other as we move along here in today's presentation. So thank you very much. And let's move on to our next fun part of group participation. It's called Guess the Technology. And you will see an image on the screen that you'll have to identify. We all have 3 choices, and just put it in the chat, A, B, or C. And it's just to show some technology that might not be around anymore today. But for you youngsters, it'd be a chance for you to kind of go, wait, what is that? And we'll get a chance to explain what it is. So let's share that first picture, and you take an idea or a guess in regards to what do you think that is? Statutes, regulations, market research tools, or is it a popular mechanics collection? Go ahead and put it in chat, and it would be an A, B, or C. And obviously, there's a lot of people that have worked with these or know what they are. But if we go to the next slide, you see that these are market research tools. They are called Thomas Registers. Now it's just called ThomasNet. They're online. So this was how we found vendors in the old days. It was either this or the Yellow Pages. There was nothing called Google back then, but this was a great resource that we used when we wanted to find out vendors that were capable of meeting our needs. So let's move on to our next image here. And again, it's going to be an A, B, or C. What is this? Is it a recipe box? Is it contact information? Or is it a project planner? And Rhonda, that's cheating. That's not an A, B, or C, but you get to become the teacher's pet for today. No problem, Rhonda. I mean, if you know what it is, you know what it is. And yes, if we move to the next one, this is a contact information. It is a Rolodex, and what you would see here is either business cards that would be attached to here, or you would add information for your contacts for your internal and external customer. All right, our last guess the technology. This one's going to be a little bit tougher, I think. Is this
okay?
And
Okay.
Cara, if you could mute that individual, that'd be great. So if this was an air quality analyzer, a portable phone, or a voice memo, A, B, or C? And Bruce, I'm giving you credit because it kind of looks like a portable phone, but this is actually a dictation machine that individuals would record their notes, their meetings, and then there would be someone called a secretary that would type these things up and make those notes known for you. But thank you for playing with our Guess the Technology game. And now let's move on and meet our candidates or our, what do they call them on game shows? Yeah, I think they're called candidates. Let's meet our panel for today. We'll start off with our veteran professionals, and Connie, go ahead and step in the spotlight and introduce yourself for everyone. Contestants, thank you.
Well, hello, everyone. I'm Connie Wahl. I'm with the City of Spokane, Senior Procurement Specialist. And I just received my 40-year PIN, which has me contemplating life. So.
Wow. And apologies to Dave. I apparently loaded up the wrong PowerPoint, but it's Dave Davis, not Dave Davies, formerly of the Monkees. So Dave, if you'd like to introduce yourself, go right ahead.
Yes, I'm happily retired now after a good career at WSDOT and 22 years before that with the Army. And now I'm learning how to be a model railroader. Driving
Nice.
my wife completely crazy with that.
Only if you have the little engineer cap to go with it, right?
Oh, I do, believe me.
And I'm Victor Leamer. I'm the senior buyer here in Spokane County, where we love to have meetings at the last moment when I should be having fun with the rest of you. Now, let's move on to our aspiring professionals, because young whippersnappers was too long to put in that heading. And Sam, let's kick off with you, please.
Hello, I'm Samantha Miller. I go by Sam, the contracts and procurement specialist here at Link Transit, and a team of 1 or 2 in our agency for procurement.
Huge office there. Okay, Cara?
Hi, my name's Cara Brocx. I'm a senior procurement and SBDB specialist at Community Transit. Been there for about 5 years. So happy to be here today. Thanks for having me.
Great, thank you for being here. And Shaylynn is still in the meeting because she's more professional than me. She should be joining us shortly. I can still see them in there and they're giving me looks, but I am focusing on you here instead. So great to be here. And let's look at our topics that we're going to be covering today in our discussion on procurement then, now, and in the future. 4 areas we're going to discuss: hiring, training, what our office was like, what it's like today, procurement procedures and technology, and how that has changed the process of the way we do things we do. And speaking of technology, just a quick photo here in regards to technology that was available, but now it's all on our phone. And I thought that was pretty amazing when you actually think about all those tools that we used to have. And I'm going to throw this to Dave and Connie. What are some office tools that you used to use that you no longer see in the office these days? Tools that you liked when you were using them.
The fax machine, when that arrived, I thought, gee, this could come in handy. How
That was hot.
about the file cabinets? We don't use those so much anymore. And the whiteout.
Whiteout, that's a good one. And whiteout for our aspiring professionals, it's not a surfing term. It was something when you typed and you made an error, you could cross it out and type over again.
Hey, we used to mail out our bids, so the USPS postage machines. And
One
no
thing-
PCs, dumb monitors.
And,
I really am aging myself.
And one thing I really miss is the multi-part forms whenever we would type out. And the white would be the original, would go to the supplier, the yellow would go to the file, and then the pink would go either to accounting or to somebody else in the office. But it's technology I miss. And yeah, feel free to put in the chat anything that you think is no longer used today. That would be something that some of our young aspiring professionals would no longer know. Oh, here's another thing. Landlines.
Yeah. We had stacks of interoffice memo and envelopes to pass around. Yes. Landlines were the lifeline to the business.
And for Sam and Cara, what stands out in regards to technology today? Does it make your job easier, or is this something you grew up with and it's I have not known life without the internet?
I
know-
think it makes it easier. Yeah, no, go ahead, Sam. Sorry.
I was just gonna say it makes it a lot easier, but I know we talked about this a while ago. You're also easier to access and maybe bug. So it's easier for you to reach out to people, but easier for them to reach out to you, for better or for worse.
I was thinking of the cost savings for those like wall of binders. I was thinking, gosh, how many times do you reprint that? Like once every 10 years or 5 years? It's hard to get updated information. Yeah.
And prior to probably 1985, cooperative agreements were not really around. We had to go out and find our own vendors. But how has that made, I guess for the whole panel, cooperative agreements made our job easier, or is it still a lot of work to find those contracts? Connie, how about you? Do you find cooperative agreements easier?
I will say that we have access to so many options, so it's kind of a bad and a good in my mind. We have to research a lot of them to find out whether their terms and the pricing can be, you know, if it's piggybackable, basically, if we can use it. And not always the best price or cost. So I would say that in a way, it's sort of taken away a little bit more of the local opportunities. You know, it's a little less transparent because we just go direct to a contract piggybacking something else, and other businesses that are maybe local don't hear about it. Oh, the good time savings, volume pricing. We get better terms and conditions because we've kind of got that volume of people with that negotiating leverage. And there's kind of a little bit of safety in numbers, you know, because if a contractor kind of stops performing, boy, there's a whole lot of people that are going to be jumping right on that.
Something else that I really enjoy, and this is probably due to COVID, is the fact that we don't have in-person bid openings anymore. We receive everything electronically. And I'm pretty sure the vendors have gotten used to it and actually enjoy that too, rather than rushing at the last minute, finding no parking by City of Spokane's building and getting a ticket while running inside at the last second to get their bid in. How have vendors reacted to technology changes, do you think? Let's start with Dave.
Well, I think some of them have decided that they want to be up on the technology and able to react that way, but some will think that the government needs to be more susceptible to their way of doing business, and think that, well, it's not worth their investment to have that technology. It's up to you to get them the word. So there's a little, you know, complacency sometimes on their part, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, because technology is changing so fast.
Mm-hmm. I was going to go back and look at some things that technology that exists now that didn't when, say, Sam and Cara weren't on this planet yet, but it was kind of daunting to go, oh man, I'm showing my age when I look at these things that are available now that I think we kind of take for granted. But at the same time, I think procurement does a great job using technology, e-procurement, internet, teleconferencing, and even more when I think about our office situation is Cara, if you could bring up that survey results for the second question. I was just curious to see how many people work from home from the office and how many are hybrid.
Yeah, I think actually Sam has to do it. She's actually the
Oh, okay.
host. Yeah, she logged in after, so.
Thanks, Sam. Hybrid 43%. For some reason, I thought that'd be a little bit higher, and I'm not surprised with the home full time. That's going down more and more. But returning to the office, if you wouldn't mind, put in the chat if you have returned or you're returning shortly back to the office on a full-time basis. Just put returning in the chat. I find that interesting, is that pendulum is starting to switch, although personally, our productivity has increased 2/3 in our office with people working from home. But Sam, you have a unique situation. You have a 1 or 2 person office. And first explain the 1 to 2. Is it because there's only room for 1 at a time, and how is that working with you being in the office these days with your work?
So I'll start with the 1 to 2 explanation. We have a procurement team of 1 to 2. I handle all of the formal public works, going to the board, sort of the bulk or the high level stuff. And then I have a coworker who works on the informal and getting quotes and making sure we're following those procedures. So I'm kind of a team of 1 with a ton of support, or a team of 2. And we actually have I think we have 40 admin staff, but just 2 procurement. And then I have stayed in the office this entire time. I'm in a transit agency. So our agency took the direction of, well, if our drivers are driving every day during COVID, we're going to go into the office. And we had enough small compartmentalized rooms with 1 to 2 people in them that it did work for the standards.
And take care of yours both, right? You're sometimes at home, sometimes in the office. For transition and productivity, does it make a difference to you and your ability to get your work done at either location?
I don't know. We were talking about this before the meeting, and I think there's definitely pros and cons for me. Motivation is harder being, solitary, alone by myself. But I think my productivity is pretty good because I work independent a lot. So for me, it works okay. And then I go into the office 2 days a week, and we kind of share space, or at least I do. So I have a little office space that I use when that person's not there. So it works for me.
So Connie, since you've been in the industry for a while, and you've just experienced the hybridness those last couple of years.
Yeah.
How does that work for your environment? Is there still times that you get together with your team, or do you still connect to each other even though you're apart?
Starting off my life for many years, we were in the basement. So if you can, just think of office space. So we were kind of in a little corner, and we had separate areas. So the focus was, we had that. We could yell over our cubicles at each other if we needed to, but we were kind of a small group in a corner. Then when the open format came into popularity, then we ended up kind of up in accounting, where you literally had 50 people all, in an area with phones ringing and conversations. That for me was hard. It was quite chaotic. And then when pandemic hit, I would say that because we had so much going on, the focus was really important. So I think that really helped me. And because I've been in the office so many years, it was kind of nice to really try this new idea of working from home. So I considered myself an introvert. I really guess I figured out that I'm really not. We do a hybrid, and I'm in office 2 days a week. So that part I really like, as far as being able to connect with people for, that period of time. But I think being home and being able to focus and have it quiet to get my work done, 10 meetings without background noise all around me, those kinds of things, I think it works well for me as hybrid.
I find that very much so, that ability to concentrate so much better, where I think our productivity is so much better when we're working at home, is that there's no distractions.
How does that work?
What?
Excuse me, Victor. How does that work for people with children and pets in the house and those kind of things?
Yeah.
That's what I would have trouble with.
Or a new engine set or train set that's just waiting to be put together.
Well, that's right. Yeah.
I could be
yeah.
that a problem too. Well,
the children and the pets are no longer concerned. Yeah.
Well, in my case, we bought my grandparents' house, and he had a room downstairs in an unfinished basement that was his radio room, and it says captain on the door, and it's like, if I'm working from home, this would be a great situation. So I have a office at home where I can shut the door and truly be able to concentrate too. I also like to listen to some jazz music. I can't play music with words because it's distracting, but if it's instrumental music, I get into a groove. But what I do miss is that just initial, hey, how's it going? How you doing? How's the family? How's the kids? Oh, you just got back from vacation. But what I find works really good with us is several times a week, the buyers will have an online meeting. Then we have a different staff meeting, and then I have a meeting with the boss. And I love teams because the team that I work with, we're always throwing jokes out or the little GIF funny faces or something like that. Just the part of making it fun and still sort of networking with each other, even though we're miles apart. I think if I was an island without a drawbridge, I would go crazy. I do have to have some social, but at the same time, I have to have quiet to get work done. When I worked for the state of Alaska for 30 years, I never had an office with a door. It was cubicle city with the thought that, oh, this cubicle wall will stop all the sound coming out, which it doesn't, because your conversation is everyone else's conversation. When I came to Spokane, it was the first time I had a door that closed, and it was like, can I close it? And that's what I find at home too, is that ability to close the door and really concentrate too. But if you have distractions, a lot of people put a sign on the door and say, do not disturb, or dad's at work, or at 10 o'clock and 3 o'clock, you do take Fluffy for a walk. But I find that working from home, for me personally, has helped a lot. But I still enjoy the occasional in the office, especially when there's a potluck and a social time together. So there's no plan for us to get back together in full time, but politics change and somebody might come in and say, all right, everyone back in the office. But in the meantime, sorry, I keep disconnecting my microphone there. I think I enjoy where I'm at. So let's look back to when we first got hired into our role in procurement. Using the chat, put either pursued or fell into in regards to how you came into where you are with procurement. I think for the panel, we all fell into it, right? None of us pursued it initially. Now, I will follow up and I'll say this, and you can correct me. We fell into and fell in love with procurement. That was the fun part. And I'm thinking, since I haven't really hired anyone recently, has the idea of looking for talent changed? Let me throw this up into, well, I was going to throw it to Shaylynn, but she's not here yet. So let me just throw it up to Dave and Connie. Are you concerned when you are doing a hiring that you're looking at a skill set and experience, or is it more those soft skills, analytical, creative, communicative, trainable? Over your years, how have you seen the hiring process for somebody in procurement change? And Connie, I'll start with you.
Okay, of course, both is wonderful. But given a choice, I think the personality skill set is really important. I need them, I can teach the specific purchasing expertise, but their ability to multitask, to be flexible, to handle the stress, to have change management skills. I mean, I need them generically to be detail oriented, but the fit with the team, the ability to pivot, and just kind of handle sort of the things that go along with the purchasing expertise is more important to me.
And Dave, how about you?
Likewise, I look more for the interpersonal kind of people. It's good if they know how to apply the technology they have, but generally, if they've got skills to work with other people, that's the better thing. especially in our line of work. And yeah, the technical stuff around procurement can be learned pretty quickly. And then you work on developing their other skills and how they work with the rest of the team and with the suppliers.
That's good. And I wish Shaylynn was here because this is where I get a brag on her, but I'll tell her I talked about her. I look for someone who's comfortable surfing the gray, meaning in procurement, there is no black and white. There is always shades of gray and 500 shades of gray. And you have to be comfortable when you get in a situation where as you're going, the decision goes like this, so go left or right, and you have to be able to analyze, use your experience, use your knowledge, use your training to go, this is how I react in this situation. And Shaylynn, oh, she's great. She asks the why questions, and I love it rather than, okay, what are the steps that I do? Now it's, well, why are we doing it this way? And when we're in a meeting, she'll go, oh, wait, I understand that we're supposed to do it this way. And it's like, not only is she asking the questions, she's retaining it. And she is a buyer 1, and she's doing like buyer 3 level of work because she wants to. And anybody that wants to do more work, who am I to hold back? So Sam, let me ask you as a, what's the term, aspiring professional? I still like young whippersnapper. No, okay. As a younger professional, aspiring professional, what was it that you brought to your office that caught your boss's attention? And since you've been working there, has there been opportunities for training and resources that help you get better at what you're doing?
Yes, absolutely. So they were looking for a combination of what Connie and Dave talked about. So not only ability to work with people, but some of those softer skills like being a little more detail oriented and multitasking. And another one that came to mind while we were discussing it was just a desire to learn. So because we have such a small procurement staff, I had to kind of figure out what I didn't know and how to learn it. And that's where I relied heavily on WANIGP and NIGP. And Megan over at Whatcom Transit actually referred me over to this group. So that has been a huge help. And that's where I get a lot of my information. I think there was a second part of your question too, though.
The available resources and training made available to you. Do you see that in your office?
Yes, but it is a little more of a self-starter. I have to come to them with the ideas of where to look and where to get the good information. With transit though, we do always support the NTI training courses. So that has been really great for federal procurements.
And Cara, let me throw those same questions at you.
Yeah, I think the first question was something about skills that are helpful that you came to procurement with or something.
Yeah, what caught your boss's attention that they said we're hiring her?
I don't know. I think they were like, we're just desperate. Let's like get this body in here. Who cares?
She has a pulse.
Yeah, right. I didn't have any zero procurement, public procurement experience. I think it's all the things that you guys said, right? The ability to juggle a lot of things, the ability to work with people and communicate, really organized, and yeah, just willing to learn and eager to learn new things. Because I don't think you can ever be an expert at everything in procurement, because that's just impossible. Maybe Dave is, I don't know, but maybe Connie too, maybe Victor. But I think it's hard to get that skill set, because it could be procurement skill set could be a lot of different things. So
what you have is the ability to understand the concepts behind it and apply those, and not be afraid to look all around you for all the information you can use to make it happen.
And I'm going to throw this in for Cara, since she's on my Lunch and Learn committee. The ability to just dive in and go for it, kind of that go-getter attitude, and excellent relationship building, both super important. And she's got it.
And then also for Cara and Sam, what's the importance of being comfortable with technology? Is that important in our jobs? Sam, I'll start with you.
Yeah.
Oh, Cara,
go
go
for
ahead.
it. Okay.
No.
Sorry. I know it's hard. It's hard to like, I'm just waiting. I know we're being respectful. I think it's important, but I'm not a tech guru. I don't do like social media. I don't have any of that stuff. So I think it's just a business technology type of environment. You need to know how to figure things out and be a problem solver, and learn how to ask questions like you guys were saying, Google it. I know how to do that.
Sam, anything that you want to add?
Yeah, just that I totally agree with Cara. I think that it's also a tool, and procurement professionals are really good at figuring out how to use a tool and remembering to use it in different scenarios and apply it as liberally as possible to make your life easier.
I had a long list of advice to give to aspiring professionals. There's some in the chat too, but you've hit on them all. And let me just go over them again. Dave said, be curious, ask questions, know the what to do in the process, but more importantly, the why. And I love the why questions, because if I can't come up with a question or the answer to it, then we have to discuss it and figure it out. The response that we should never hear in the why is, we've always done it that way. If that is the response, then it's time to look at it again and say, okay, we need to reevaluate this. Someone said volunteer for Megan did. Thank you, Megan. Volunteer for WNIGP and also National NIGP. Plenty of opportunities for that. Learn from your mistakes. I see when I first started and the manual was dropped on my desk and said, here's your job. If you have any questions, it's in there. I had to learn from my mistakes, and I was afraid to make mistakes because you have those bosses that the only time you hear from them is when you do something wrong. But now I had one boss that said, it's never a mistake, it's a learning opportunity. And I think there's less and less fear and more, let's be creative. And the more that supervisors allow for creativity and ingenuity and understanding the technology, the better service and products we'll get from our employees. And be trainable. Sam, I loved it, how you approached it and said, yeah, training's available, but I have to present it and in a way that shows I'm interested. And it's not just, oh, I want to go to Forum because I hear it's a great party. I want to go to the 20th anniversary for WNIGP because it's a party. It's not that. It's valuable, and you come back a better person for that.
Victor, I want to remind you that as the new person coming in, when you got a hold of those manuals, you were given the old, outdated set of manuals that you had to figure out was old and outdated, and then how to get it updated.
Usually, I found wherever there was a bent page or a little sticky coming out, like this is something important. And yes, the best way to learn is to rewrite the manual or to do a project for the first time. But I think the work environment is so open to shadowing, training, not flying solo or taking the wheels off the bicycle, the training wheels, until you're ready. And I think that environment is good. The only thing I wish there was more of was a budget for training. And I think if you have a good budget on training, put some ideas in the chat box in regards to how I can approach those holding the purse strings and saying, this is important. This is the value that I will get out of this. Maybe I'll just get Sam to walk and train me on, okay, Sam, how do I do this? But I too am trainable. And as we consider all that we've talked about and we look towards the future, I think what we've learned so far is procurement initially is the same. We solicit for goods and services in an open and fair environment, looking for the best value. That hasn't changed. But what has changed is in regards to technology. So we have to be trainable. We have to not hug technology, but not be afraid of it. And let me throw this out there too, to anybody on the panel and in the chat book. How is AI, artificial intelligence, going to affect our role in procurement? Are we going to be replaced? Are we going to be enhanced? Are we going to be, what is the Star Trek cyborgs? Or are we going to be assimilated? I've just touched on AI a few times. Jenny did a song about procurement using Chat GPT, I think it is, and it was a great song about procurement, and that was fun. But are we to be afraid of AI, or is it that we're just not understanding it enough yet that we're not embracing it? Any thoughts on AI?
I'm afraid of it, but then Ginny can tell you I was afraid of text a few years ago, and she had to show me how to use that when I was walking around with my phone and didn't know how to use text.
Did she also reprogram your VCR so it didn't flash 12 all the time?
It was my daughter did that.
Okay. I think AI, along with everything else from fax machines to the internet, it's just changing technology, and we have to understand it enough to be able to use it properly. It can get out of control, and it's important to understand it too. So let me throw this open to the whole panel here, and also anybody else that wants to chime in. With technology, the way we do procurement over the years, is procurement still fair, open, and transparent?
I would say yes. I think it's more transparent because of the technology, because we have all of this information that they're on our websites that people could just go in and take a look at the contracts and the procurements. It's easier to reach out to many people as opposed to, I mean, we were mailing bids. We were looking in the Thomas Register or the, the white pages for businesses. It just, to me, it seems like it's really enhanced our ability to be transparent and to pull in more and more competition.
And I would say, in addition to that, it's more open. With the internet, with e-procurement, we've doubled and tripled our responses to our bids and proposals. And we've saved so much in not using postage anymore. Do you remember those cardboard trays of envelopes that you would have to carry down to the mailroom? And how much your budget was each year for postage? What about being fair? Is it still fair?
I don't think technology's impacted the fair. Well, I think it is more accessible maybe, which makes it more fair, but I don't know specifically of any impact. But you old timers, I mean, what is it called? Not senior. I forgot the word.
Veteran.
Veteran. You guys might know the difference from back in the day.
I would agree. It's fair, more open, and more transparent, and it's easier. I find I'm getting more work done in the day with e-procurement, opening bids, opening proposals, emailing it out, having virtual conferences, and I would agree, Maya, that in-person site visits still important. But there are times that we'll take an iPad around with people online and we'll show, and they'll say, oh, can you zoom in on that? That was COVID related. And some people still enjoy the virtuality of it. But I would agree, it is still fair, open, and transparent. I think we're doing our job. That's the thing about procurement that we take serious is we're protecting the process. We're using the tools. We're representing our profession. And we enjoy getting together. I mean, forum was so much fun. It was like a comic book convention with all the procurement nerds together, and we could speak procurement language and acronyms, and people would just get it instead of what's an RFP. RFPs are cool. So looking towards the future, one thing that comes out is an annual list from NASPO from the chief procurement officers, and it's their top 10 priorities looking forward to the next year. Now, just looking at this list, if you want to use a chat, what would you think in our role? Now, these are put out by the generals, and we're the foot soldiers actually doing the work. I mean, they're coming up with the strategy and all that, but we're putting it to work. What do you think is your top priority looking towards the future? And it could be a combination. Personally, I'm going to say technology touches all of these. And if I were to say one thing, it's technology. But if you want to chime on, Maya, if you want to explain why continuous improvement is important to you, or Linda, or Margaret, love to hear why you think this is the number one for our profession, and probably for you.
Do you want us to talk about it or just try and type that entire thing into
You
chat?
get to talk about it.
Just because I have the power to unmute myself, right?
Yes.
Well, I was just going to say that for me, continuous improvement touches so many of many of these items, right? Because it is improving your processes, your technology. It's taking time to spend with your stakeholders to understand where I'm binding them up and where I'm not communicating well enough, and giving them getting feedback from them that says, hey, if you just did this, this, and this, you'd make my life so much easier. So I guess to me, continuous improvement kind of touches every one of these in some way, shape, or form.
Good point, Jason. I think that might be documentation of process. It could be a combination of several of these. Modernizing the procurement process. Our manual is outdated. I think it was chiseled on rock, but it needs to be updated as our processes have changed too. But the fun thing about procurement is, and I say often when I'm training, is procurement is like Christmas. Every day you come to work, you get to open up something that you weren't expecting, and you get to react to it. But now, this is just an off the top of my head chat comment. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best, 1 being the worst, is your job still fun? Now, I'm talking about the job, meaning the solicitations you put together, the networking, not necessarily the people you work with, but the job that you do. On a scale to 1 to 10, where are you at right now in your profession? Me, I'm loving what I do. I'm putting a 10 in there because, being in the profession 36 years, I've seen so many changes, but what hasn't changed is that thrill of helping other people. And since we're protecting the process and we're keeping them off the front page of the paper or helping with protests or anything else, it's just that, I don't know, procurement attracts unique people that love helping others out. 8 because of workload, but if better balanced, 10. Now, I would say if we had 2 more people in our office, I would put a 12 down there. But you have good days, you have bad days, busy, occasionally those catch-up days, but just curious what it is. And we have a little time. If you have questions or comments, you can come off mute and talk about changes that you've seen or changes that you're hoping to see in regards to our profession moving forward. And Maya, if you want to talk about while we're waiting for some comments, talk about a fun event that's coming our way here in a little less than a month.
Sure. Yeah, just a reminder to everyone that that 20th anniversary celebration is coming up on November 2nd. And so Dr. Brian Lyons, he's from the Center of Procurement Excellence. He is also a professor at the University of Kansas. We'll be talking about practical leaderships for procurement professionals. And I really want to encourage folks that this sounds like soft and kind of, I don't know, some people have said, that doesn't look like technical. And I really think it is, because how many times are you leading RFP teams and you're leading solicitations, you're trying to guide your mechanics and your public works department into a particular area. So remember that, and then developing talent in the post-COVID world with Mr. Rick Grimm, CEO of WANIGP, who is going to then join us later in the evening for our 20th anniversary celebration. We're going to have a dinner, videos, just a lot of fun, and it's being catered by McCormick and Schmidt. So those of you who are foodies, this is going to be good. And we would really, really, really love to see you. And man, $30 for an entire day, 2 meals catered by McCormick and Schmidt. Man, at the restaurant, you can't even get one. So just telling you, you got a deal and access to the Museum of Flight. And you get to see us. I mean, what could be better?
But come anyway, come anyway.
But come anyway, exactly.
And as Stacy would say, there's scholarships available.
Yes. So reach out to the scholarship committee. I believe that's online, right, Stace? The information's online. Megan, Stacy, one of you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Information is online.
Awesome.
A lovely shirt, Stacy.
Thank you.
It captures your eyes.
It
But
does.
this has been a lot of fun talking about procurement, and I had a fun time. I was going to show one office picture of a cubicle city with ashtrays on the desks that when I first started, and it's like, that was such a bad memory. And I'm so glad that is no longer, being allergic to cigarette smoke. For some reason, I didn't like being around smokers, but landlines being gone, typewriters gone. I have space in an office for cool stuff, not just, and there's no file cabinets anymore. And I'm just curious, what's going to happen next? It's going to be a lot of fun, and I hope you continue to have fun. And you don't hear this a lot, but thank you for what you do, and you are appreciated. It's not mentioned a lot, but continue to have fun. Look forward to seeing you at the 20th anniversary. Alaska Airlines, if you're in flying distance or outside of driving distance, had specials listed last night. You might check that out. But otherwise, thank you for your time. And if you have no more comments, we'll call it a day.
Thank you. Great job,
Thanks,
everybody.
everyone.
Bye.
Thank
See you in
you.
November.